Hi everyone, it's Kimberly Archer. I'm here today to read my third children's story. It's called Petey Goes to the Zoo. The first time we met, I read my first children's story, Petey Had a Friend. And then I read Petey and the Sled Dogs. And today I'm going to read Petey Goes to the Zoo. But first, I have to get in costume. So stay with me. There. Now I'm ready. This is going to be kind of a tough one because I've got a lot of drawings. Petey goes to the zoo. One day, Petey volunteered to be a service dog at the zoo. Service dogs work with people who need extra help. Today, Petey's job was to help out wherever he was needed. This was Petey's first visit to the zoo. He was excited to make new animal friends. Petey was asked to wear a service vest and a funny hat. He liked the vest, but he thought the hat was silly. However, Petey was a good sport and didn't mind. These are pictures of Petey being helpful. The first animal Petey saw was so big that he felt a little scared. This large gray animal made a trumpeting sound. It was loud. The big beast could also do lots of tricks, such as standing on a ball and squirting water out of its nose. Petey forgot to be afraid. The large performing beast touched Petey with its long nose, and they became friends. Now, what kind of animal do you think that was? If you said elephant, you were right. Very good. Here's Petey being a helpful guide. There's lots of little animals hidden in that picture. The next stop was a large glass cage with lots of trees and ropes. Petey saw many long-armed creatures swinging through the trees. He pushed his nose against the glass and looked into the face of what appeared to be a small child. But that couldn't be right. Small children don't live in the zoo, and they don't swing in trees. These animals were very acrobatic. Petey thought the creatures looked friendly and playful. What kind of animal do you think those were? If you said monkey, you were right. So here's another picture of Petey being helpful. Next, along the way, Petey came to a large green area surrounded by water. In the middle was an island. Petey looked to see what lived on the island. Much to his surprise, he saw two large black animals. They were standing on their hind legs and looking around. They had long claws and big mouths full of long teeth. They almost looked like the biggest dogs Petey had ever seen. Petey got a feeling they would not make very good friends. He was happy to move on. So, what do you think those animals are? This one's kind of hard. If you said bears, you were right. So here's a picture of Petey being helpful. There's a sign that says lions, tigers, and bears. The path led to a big glassed-in habitat. At first, Petey could not see anything. Then he noticed movement of a long gray and white spotted tail. His eyes followed the tail to a beautiful gray and white spotted body and a face with bright green eyes. The animal was so well camouflaged in the rocks and trees, it was almost impossible to see. It looked like Petey's friend Shadow, but bigger in size. The furry animal looked grumpy, as it had just waken up from a nap. Petey thought it best to let it sleep. Now maybe you remember that Shadow was a cat. That'll give you a hint. This one's kind of hard. Snow leopard. See, he's camouflaged. There's Petey being helpful. Petey followed the path to a spacious, fenced-in grassy area. There he saw some animals that fascinated him. These were large animals with 4 legs, but it was the patterns that surprised Petey. He could not tell if they were black animals with white stripes or white animals with black stripes. Petey approached the fence to make friends with the beautiful animals, but when they saw Petey, the shy animals snorted and swiftly ran away like the wind. What do you think? This was kind of easy. If you said zebras, you're right. There's Petey's friends, the goat and the donkey. Next was a large pond. Petey liked ponds. He saw graceful shapes floating in the water. He looked closer and saw they were swimming. They reminded Petey of his friends on his pond at home, and he began to bark excitedly. Service dogs are not allowed to bark, so he was asked to leave. Can you guess? You're right. Ducks and geese. All these animals live on Petey's pond at home. Having learned his lesson not to bark, Petey was invited to visit a tropical forest. It was located inside the zoo but looked like the outdoors. There was lots of activity. Beautifully colored creatures were flying all around. Sometimes they would rest on a plant or skim water from the pool. They made Petey feel a little nervous. There was so much movement. Besides, it was warm in the tropical environment. He wanted to go somewhere cooler. Can you guess? Tropical birds. There's Petey being helpful. Petey got his wish. The last stop was cooler. In fact, it looked and felt like winter. On the ice slopes were small black and white animals. They looked like they were having so much fun. They would slide down the snow and splash into a large pool. Then they would swim fast under the water. Petey was able to watch them playing under the water through a large glass window. Petey wished he could have a turn, but he needed to be a good service dog. All right, can you guess? It's the exact opposite of tropical birds. That's right. If you said penguins, you were right. Petey finished his day as a service dog at the zoo. He was told he did a good job and was very helpful. He learned not to bark at the other animals. Petey was a little tired, but happy to have made new friends during such an exciting day. And this is the last picture that I drew, or 2 pictures, I should say. Here's Petey with all his zoo friends, and that's just kind of a fun little picture. And then there's a coloring sheet as well in this story. And this is the very last page, and this is a little bit about me. I'll read it to you. Kimberly Archer is a retired art teacher who enjoys teaching part-time, traveling to new destinations, and working on her Petey illustrations. Drawing the pictures for Petey Goes to the Zoo was especially enjoyable, as she loves animals. Zoos play an important role in conserving and protecting endangered species. The author, that's me, hopes her story will spark an interest in young readers, encouraging them to contribute to the health and ecology of our beautiful world and the animals that inhabit it. And a shout out to my friend Leslie Archer, who helped me edit and put this book together. So thank you, Leslie Archer. I have a sister, Leslie Archer, and a friend, Leslie Archer. I have a lot of friends, Leslie's in my life. But this is Petey, goes to the zoo. And service dogs are very important. As you know, I love dogs. And service dogs are especially important because they really do help people. But there's so much to write about service dogs. That's a whole nother story. So we just had Petey be helpful in this book. The other thing I want to show you that I forgot to show you before was Petey had a friend. There's a coloring sheet too. This was a self-portrait I did of me with my other friend Cutie and another little kitten that I had. So these are my 3 stories, and my next job is to put together some lessons for you and show you how to draw and maybe show you how to do a couple of fun little art projects. So I hope you enjoyed our session today, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.